Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, another week, another episode of the X-Files, and so here we go. Thank you for tuning into Scott's Thoughts. So, here we go. So this episode is titled The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat, and judging by the title of that episode, you can assume that it is a comedy episode, and it definitely is. X-Files occasionally does these if you're unfamiliar with them. They do an episode that's just kind of weird and funny and out of place with the usual serious tone, and it melded very well with how they did this one. They teased around with the Mandela Effect, which, for those of you who don't know what the Mandela Effect is, it's ultimately that thing that you remember distinctly as one way, but it turns out it's another way. There's the theoretical possibility that you remember a memory of yourself from a parallel but slightly different universe. All theoretical physics, and with it they make great comedy. Now, I would have loved to see the Mandela Effect in a more serious episode, but ultimately, as you guys know, there is a spoiler warning beneath this. There was no Mandela Effect. It was essentially this crazy dude who had been listening in on Mulder and Scully's conversations on the phone and sort of pieced together his own memories. The coolest part of this episode by far, though, was when he went through the memories of like season 1 of X-Files with Mulder and Scully, and you get to see him, and they CG'd him into the background with Season 1. And of course they made good comedy with that, and my personal favorite line where he's sitting there and he's talking about Sasquatch, and these aliens give them the key to everything in life, and he finds out that there is no Sasquatch, and Mulder is extremely upset by this. Because Mulder is one of those conspiracy theorists, and they tried to make it relevant in this episode by saying, in a world of fake news and everything, that kind of everything's either a conspiracy theory or whatever. There's not really anything out there that's sort of making that sort of conspiracy event thing happen anymore. And they think that maybe Dr. They has this ability. It's this random guy who's kind of like, yes. And unlike last week's episode, it worked really well in this one. Now that being said, again, they were politically preachy up the ass on this episode. Oh my god. Talking about fake news and all that stuff, and then people wearing Make America Great Again hats and stuff. It was just all too much political preachiness, in my opinion, that got really kind of annoying. But at the same time, I was able to still enjoy the episode, and it didn't hinder my enjoyment of it any. It just felt so out of place. I do love the fact that that essentially we aren't alone in the universe, according to this guy's memories. It's just that all the aliens of the entire universe don't like us, and they don't want anything to do with us, so they're going to build a wall. A big, beautiful wall around our, basically, solar system. And I thought that was a hilarious social commentary, but I thought it was, again, politically preachy as hell. But it was funny, and that's the thing. They made very light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek comments, and that worked for me. All in all, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I thought that it was an interesting kind of side story. It had nothing to do with the other X-Files. And it had nothing to do with the seriousness of the other stories and everything being so dramatic. It was nice to just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy it. I feel like I could watch this episode a couple times, as opposed to like 2 weeks ago, which was brutally boring. So I enjoyed this episode. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy the episode? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos coming to you. Love you guys.